Hiya, I'm Jasmine from Safe Lock Systems. We are distributors of locks for safes and vaults to the security trade, and this is a how-to video for installation of the new Pulse Next keypad. I better start by saying that I am not a safe engineer and this is a sample board, and so this is not a live installation. This is just an example of the processes that need to be followed and an explanation of how the keypad's been designed. So there are two versions of the keypad, the low profile and the standard keypad, and both of them are supplied with the keypad part assembled and then two M4 mounting screws. The keypad can be used either for a swing bolt or for a deadbolt, and it's just a case of adjusting the keypad rather than purchasing a separate part like a backplate to use for a deadbolt. When installed for a deadbolt, the ring on the outside of the keypad is rotated to turn the deadbolt, so I'll just show you that quickly. Whether that ring can or cannot turn is down to a few screws inside the keypad, and so if it's being used for a swing bolt, this would actually be fixed so that the groove is at the 12 o'clock position, whereas for a deadbolt the ring is able to turn. Obviously it's stopped from turning by the blocking elements of the deadbolt. Once the keypad has been mounted, the final step is to rotate the face so that it clicks and locks at the 12 o'clock position, and then it's locked in place. So I have actually removed the pin and spring that forces it to lock in that position on this keypad for the purposes of this demonstration. You can see that it's normally positioned there, and this is the tiny pin and spring. Once that has locked into place, you basically can't remove the face of the keypad unless you drill a hole to access the pin and spring, so you have to basically do it destructively. This is a requirement of the EN 1300 standard to provide evidence if the keypad has been tampered with, if somebody's trying to attach some sort of sniffing device to the keypad, and so it was necessary for Techno to design it this way so that you've got that proof of that destructive proof of tampering. In just a moment I'll show you the click and lock. So here's a keypad which has been mounted, and I'm now going to rotate the face as the final step, but I've left the pin in position in this one, so as I rotate it you should hear the click, and possibly you can even see the pin click into that recess. There we go. So now that that pin and spring is in position, you just cannot remove that face unless you drill a little hole here so that you can use a paper clip or an iPhone tool or something like that to depress the pin. There we go, to allow the face to be removed. So we'll start with the standard keypad, which houses the 9-volt battery. The first step is to remove the battery tray to allow more access, and then we can pull forward the face and gently pull out a little bit of slack in the cable so that you've got space to work. If we're installing this for a deadbolt, then we would need to loosen off this screw and this screw, which then allows the outer ring to rotate. I'm actually fixing this for a swing bolt, and I'm going to use the horizontal holes, but if you're fixing for a swing bolt and you need to use the vertical holes, take the screws out so that the keypad's, the bar at the back of the ring rotates, and then you can fix it back again into position afterwards so that the ring stops rotating. So I will firstly insert the keypad cable through the channel, and then get a screw ready to install the first horizontal position. And then as I'm bringing it a bit closer, I'm just pulling through the excess of that cable so I can then get it positioned for the next one. There we go, so they're both on there loosely, so now I can tighten them up and make sure that everything is all aligned. You want to make sure you do this before the final step. So now I'm going to pull the cable through from the back to get that as close as possible, and then position the keypad at around about the 11 o'clock position so that it basically pushes in and can be recessed. So now the final step is to do the rotation of this face, and as we saw earlier on in a live installation, that pin and spring will click once you've turned it. Obviously on this one I've taken out the pin, for demo purposes, but now that's pretty well solidly in there, and this keypad feels really nice and solid. So next we will affix the lock to the back. So now we can plug in the keypad cable into port 1 and then tidy away that cable with the cable ties that we supply with the keypad. And we can finally insert the battery tray and the battery, making sure that the terminals align per the engraving on the battery tray. And then when you slide in the battery tray, you need to flip it over and make sure that it is really parallel with the floor so that these grooves align up with the runners. And then you can do one final click into position and the keypad will do a light up when you first get the power. So let's just check everything's working. There we go. That's fine, and that's the swing bolt and the standard keypad all installed. If you're fitting it with a deadbolt, then the spindle length should basically be the thickness of the door plus 25mm, which is the combination of the recess into the deadbolt lock and the recess into the keypad. So now we can take a look at the low profile keypad installation. So when it's applied, it's basically in a condition of being able to be installed on the horizontal points for a swing bolt. So if we want to use it for a deadbolt, we have to loosen off these screws, which allows the ring to rotate. And if we want to use the alternate mounting position, the vertical mounting position, we also have to reposition the bar at the back. So first of all, I'm going to take off these screws. So now we can see that the bar at the back is rotating, and that's suitable for use for a deadbolt, but we've only got the horizontal mounting screws available to us, mounting position available to us. So if we flip it over, you can basically, if you need to change it so that you're using the vertical position, you need to remove this bar by loosening off these two screws and then reposition the bar and twist this round so that it goes across that way at a 90-degree angle. This will then basically allow the vertical position to become available, and you can see that you've got the up arrow there, which then allows for vertical mounting. But for this installation, I'm going to use the horizontal, and it's going to be installed for a deadbolt, so I'm going to leave that ring able to spin. So firstly, we need to run the keypad cable through the channel. And then I can pop in the mounting screws. So at this point, as you tighten it up, you really do want to make sure that it's perfectly positioned, because once we've done the final step, you won't be able to get access to these screws again. So you want to make sure that it's nice and straight. And then the final step is to pull the keypad cable through and position the face at about 11 o'clock, and then you do that final rotation so that it's then perfectly vertical. You can see that because it's for a deadbolt, the ring kind of moved with it as I was trying to turn that. So again, on this one, I've removed the pin and spring for the purposes of demonstration, but once you've done that step, you can't get access again without drilling into the keypad. Okay, so once we have fitted the keypad at the front and we've got the ring ready to go, we can then insert the spindle. So for these low profile keypads, the spindle should be cut to the thickness of the door plus 15mm, which is shorter than the standard keypad is the thickness of the door plus 25mm. So that is basically the recess into the lock and the recess into the keypad. So it's shorter on this one because the keypad's flatter. So I'm going to insert that spindle, and then I'm going to put this to the closed position, and then we can place the lock over the top, so you can try and insert that cable into the groove, but obviously it's going to need to kind of hang loose here at this point so that it can move as the ring is rotated. So we'll just pop the lock screws in. Obviously you should also fit the third screw in a live installation. and then we'll plug the keypad cable into port 1 of the lock. And because we're using a low profile, we don't have a power source, so we'll need to plug a battery in as well. And I'll just check that that's working okay. Yep, that's all fine. And the movement of the ring is really quite nice and loose. Obviously it's locked and secured now. The ring movement is really nice and loose, so I know that nothing's caught. I'll just have a look at this side. So you can see that there's not a huge amount of movement in the cable as it rotates around, so it's quite a nice connection there. So we then need to tidy away all the cabling. I obviously can't fit a battery box on this stand, but in a live installation you'll have a battery box installed somewhere else, so make sure that all the cables are tidied away and don't interfere with any moving parts of the safe. And then we can do one final test. So one final note is that if you need to change the cable for any reason, such as using the keypad for an older lock where it's a different connector, lock connector, you can take the face of the keypad apart. So you would need a T7 security screwdriver, and then you can peel apart the outer shell to then get access to where the keypad cable is connected. So when you reposition it, obviously the on the low profile version, the battery connector cable falls just in that area there, so you just need to make sure that you line it up without squashing any of the cables as you put it back together. There we go. That's better. There you can reposition the screws.